What's up, guys? It's Sam here, and I wanted to talk about leverage and really get into explaining, because a lot of times people talk about how leverage is good, but I think a lot of the people who hear that don't actually understand the math behind that. So I wanted to run through a little example. And you can relate this to real estate. I have my undergrad in finance and economics, a MBA from a top 25 school in the United States that is in finance and accounting, and that's a coincidence. My CFA, which is, think of like a CFA as a CPA, but just, 2 or 3 times more difficult. And I say that to give a little bit of context when it comes to comparing real estate to investing in the stock market or bond market or some other derivative type market. I wouldn't by any stretch of the imagination say that I am an expert. However, I do have a lot of experience in that arena, and I prefer personally real estate for the amount of returns that you can get in real estate. So I wanted to go through an example to show you exactly how. So actually, speaking of which, I was doing some cleaning. If you watch any other of my videos, I clean up all those books on the floor, and these are the books for the CFA exam. So this is for one exam. All these books cover one exam. That all covers a different exam, and those books over there are all on a different exam. But with that being said, let's get into this example. But before I do that, make sure you press that subscribe button and the bell notification so YouTube can tell you every time I post a new video. Okay. Now I'm out of breath. Let's get into it. So we've got 2 things here. $20,000. One hand, you're just investing $20,000. In the other hand, you're taking $20,000 and you're using that to be able to borrow $200,000, right? So you could think of this as a $220,000 property that you're putting 20 grand down on, right? And we're going to say the rate of return is 10%. Oh, before you unsubscribe and leave me a nasty comment, say you can't get 10%. I've more than tripled my money in the last 2 years investing in real estate. There's just some things to consider, right? You have appreciation or potential appreciation. You have it, so you want to factor in the total return, right? Not just the cash flow or not just the appreciation. And there's another thing too, which is the last point, which I've never seen somebody factor into a total return. 99% of people don't even factor in a total return. They leave variables out, and that's why their analysis is fucking wrong or lacking. I'm not going to say it's wrong. It's right. If it's right for them, it works for them, that's fine. But it's missing data. So if you're trying to be more accurate in your analysis, and as the market becomes more efficient, that's going to be you're going to have to do. Anyways, so you've got cash flow, right? That's part of a return. You have equity pay down on your loan. That's part of a return. You have tax benefits or depreciation on the property. That's part of your return. You also have, there's 5 variables. So you have the cash flow, the equity pay down, the tax benefits from the depreciation and the interest you can write off on the property. You also have, I don't remember what the other 4th part of the return is. And then there's a 5th part of the return, which I've never seen once included in a total return calculation. And that is the ROI of taking action for your own fucking life and doing something for yourself. Because you taking action and doing something for yourself and actually putting in the work to figure it out. Like I could tell you how to buy a house, right? And I could tell you how to analyze a house and how to calculate cash flow and the different expenses in it, right? And you can do it in a spreadsheet, no problem, and go figure out where the data is and get the prices and all that kind of stuff, and figure out where you would go to do a background check and do a credit check. But when you go do it yourself, it's completely different. And the ROI of taking that action towards yourself and your own goals and objectives, that ROI compounds on your other decisions that you get to make in life, right? Because that has a spillover effect into the other facets of your life, whether it's your job or your relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship or relationship with friends. And it has a tremendous effect, a rippling type of effect that I've never seen anybody have a positive value in their total return calculation. And I don't think I've ever actually seen it even slightly mentioned as part of a total return in any calculations that I've seen. So we've got the cash flow, we've got the other one, right? Tax benefits, and equity pay down. And then the fourth variable before the ROI of actually taking action is the appreciation on the property, potential appreciation on the property. So getting a 10% rate of return, from my experience, is actually pretty fucking simple. You can be creative. It's just not that challenging right? Like I haven't been investing in real estate for a tremendous number of years. I think I'm going on year number 3. And each year it's been, well into the double digits. As I mentioned, it's actually in the triple digits because I've quadrupled my money. Yeah, I haven't even actually calculated, but I've quadrupled my money. So it's just tremendous. Just take my word for it. And okay, so 10% rate of return. You're going to borrow $200,000 at 5%, right? If you look at the market, interest rates for mortgages, you can probably pretty easily get a loan for less than 5%. So we made it more conservative and we called it 5%, right? That's a higher rate. And we're just going to talk about a single time period right here, but you could just make it more complex and add in multiple time periods, and this will compound. But we're just going to look at a single time period just to get the idea across of like how leverage works. Okay, so let me show you what we put together right here. This is what we're talking about, right? So your $20,000 that you invest January 1st until December 31st. You make a 10% rate of return. Growth rate of return, same fucking thing. Over here, this is the amount invested now. It's $220,000. That's your original amount you had plus the borrowed amount, right? So that's like buying a $220,000 property and putting down 20%. Now, at the end of 1 year, we've got $240,000. But what's the return? Because we want to compare the returns. On this side, we have a 10% rate of return. On this side, we have a bunch of question marks, right? Like, that's not super helpful, Sam. That's not answering the question. So, what do you have to consider to figure out the rate of return? Well, you have to pay off the loan, which is $200,000, and you have to pay off the interest on the loan, which is 5% times 1 period, right? So you have 5% times $200,000, and that's $10,000. So you have to pay both of those off. So now let's get back into this. So right here you have $240,000, right? That's a 10% rate of return on $220,000. So you've got $200,000 to pay off plus the interest. So that leaves you with $32,000. What did we start with? 20. So now you get to see the rate of return over here versus over here. This is 6 times greater than 10%. And that is the effect of leverage. You're like, how is it possible that I can earn 10% in both examples and the rate of return is 6 times greater? And how that's happened is because you get the delta between the growth rate and the interest rate, right? You're growing at 10% and you're only paying at 5%. So the delta right there you get. And that delta is on the 200 grand. And that's, so you get that entire amount over the course of the year. Plus you get the 10% on your own. So combining those together is what gets you to the $32,000. And that, my friends, is why I like leverage in real estate. Now, I built this so that you can change these numbers, right? So you're like, Sam, there's no way you can get 10% in real estate. So you can change this, right? Maybe you think 7% is more realistic. Watch down here. Okay, you get a 7% rate of return. You're still 4x almost what you are in this example. And that doesn't even factor in, like, that if you're getting a 7% cash on cash return, like, you still have appreciation, you still have equity pay down, you still have tax benefits, you still have the ROI of actually taking action for something, of learning, the ROI of actually taking action for yourself in your life. Like, and that's a 7% rate of return. You're like, well, maybe I'd get 5.5% for the rate right here. So you just put in 5.5. It's still 3 times greater. Like, there's only a delta right here of 1.5 points between 7 and 5.5, but it's still 3 times greater. Like, you can see all the numbers change as you punch them in. Or say if this is 8% and this goes back to 5% and you only borrow $100,000, right? Maybe that's all you can get qualified for a loan. You're still at 3x almost. Like, that's why I like real estate. Just because look at these crazy amounts of return, right? Like, I've got some amazing returns over the last couple of years. And it's not that hard. I've also had some money invested in the market. I don't get anywhere near that return. Not even close. Anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Make sure to press that thumbs up button, son. And don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. Also, if you want to reach out to me on Instagram, link will be in the description. Just jump over there and say what's up. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon.